what's up YouTube? Joe again from Grotto House Grotto, and I'm continuing my 7-day miniseries, 7 Days of Alien. And today I'm going to be reviewing 1986's Aliens. This film is awesome. I can't say enough about this film. It's just, like, similar to Alien, it's just an awesome all-around film. These two films to me really stand out, just way ahead of their time. Like I said in the previous film, I like all the films for different reasons, and I do prefer Ridley Scott's storytelling over the other directors that have made the sequels. Not to say that I don't like Aliens or I don't like Alien 3 Resurrection. I mean, they have their downsides. Every film's got a little things that, you know, that make them not perfect. But I think Aliens is a really good film. Like I said, I like it for different reasons. I just prefer Ridley Scott's storytelling, his slow kind of like build up that he does in all of his films. The character development I think is a little, I like it a little bit more. I think he utilizes just his storytelling over action. Now, I do like action films. I like The Terminator. I like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, these action heroes. I love James Cameron's action films. I love Aliens for that reason. I just prefer the storytelling of Ridley Scott and the way he, what way he masters the environment and the character development and the whole overall atmosphere of his films. I like that, and I like the simpleness of the soundtrack for the first one. The second one, Aliens, a sequel, I like it because, James Cameron did a really good job of being respectful of Alien. He said in some of his earlier interviews that, he didn't want to change really anything that Ridley Scott did. He just wanted to do it better. And I think for the most part he did. He did a lot of things better than Alien. I think, there was about a 7-year difference between Alien and Aliens. And I feel like if those two films came out at the same time, they're basically at the same kind of standard. You look at what changes in 7 years, and Aliens, stepped it up a notch. They did what a film 7 years later would do. I feel like Ridley Scott is a director. He's different than James Cameron, okay? James Cameron is more of a action-based director. He's these blockbuster films. We got Aliens, we got Terminator, Terminator 2, Titanic, Avatar. These are all big summer blockbuster movies, okay? Ridley Scott, he's one of those directors that if you love Ridley Scott films, I mean you love Ridley Scott films. I fall into that camp. But there's less fans like me that like Ridley Scott films. It's not to say that Ridley Scott is a bad director. He's not. It's just there's more people that prefer James Cameron style over Ridley Scott style. And I think Ridley Scott, if he were, as much as I would want him to direct all the movies, he can't sustain every single movie. A movie like Aliens, it's a sequel to a major film like Alien. So it was expected at the time, we need this big blockbuster action film. We need to top what happened in Alien. And James Cameron did that. He did exactly what was expected for a sequel to a major film like Alien. You need to bring in more aliens. You need to bring up the special effects. You need to have explosions. You need to have, a crew of Marines. I mean, it needs to be over-the-top action. And that's what we get with Aliens. And that's, I appreciate that. Even though I still, like I said, I stand by it. I like Ridley Scott as a director a little bit more than James Cameron. I still love Aliens. I don't regret any of the films in the franchise because, I mean, these are the ones that we've all grown in love on. These are the ones that I loved watching as a kid. These are the ones I've grown up on. So I don't regret it. I'm curious to see what would have happened with an Alien sequel that would have had Ridley Scott at the helm, but that's not what we got. We got Aliens directed by James Cameron. And James Cameron did an awesome job. So with this film, we basically see 57 years later, Ripley, played again by Sigourney Weaver, She is floating through space in her escape pod from the first movie. And Wayland Corporation finds her and brings her back to back to Wayland Corporation headquarters. And she awakens from her stasis, and they explain to her, 57 years are passed, and unfortunately your daughter has passed away. At this time, her daughter's in her late 60s. So much time has passed that her daughter basically passed away, and so she doesn't have any family left. And I feel like that was a very a good move on James Cameron's part, because it gave Ripley a little bit of vulnerability. So in the end of the first film, we saw Ripley being this, badass, almost like what we see with the Marines in this movie. She's kind of like a badass at the end of the movie, and then we see her again when she comes through the stasis and finds out that her daughter is gone. It leaves her with nothing. So it leaves her very vulnerable, and that's part of her, her character arc in this movie is, are we going to see Ripley come back to being this badass character? And she does in this movie. She is badass. And there's little family dynamics in this film that are really cool. So Wayland Corporation basically tells her that, your daughter's dead. It's 57 years later. They are now terraforming. For people that don't know what terraforming is, it's basically, it's a scientific term for when in space exploration. Now, this is not obviously happening in real life. It's a science fiction kind of term for going to a foreign planet, going to a planet like Mars or Jupiter or whatever, and turning that planet into a planet that's habitable like Earth. So giving it Earth-like characteristics, creating oxygen, creating vegetation, plant life. And this is a slow process that settlers of a new planet have to go through. So they send settlers to these different planets, and they send settlers to LV-426, the planet from the first film. And they are terraforming on LV-426. And this group of settlers comes under attack. And the Wayland Corporation, they try to get Ripley to go to the planet. They're like, look, we know you have experience dealing with this problem they're having. They're not really wanting to reveal that there's aliens because they're trying to, make some profit off of whatever they discover there. So they really don't want to hear from Ripley, who Ripley's like, look, there was aliens. There was an alien on board our ship. It killed our crew. I had to escape an escape pod. They're like, we're not having it. But at the same time, they want Ripley to help because she has the experience. So they convince her, we will go there and we will destroy this problem as long as you help us with this mission. We are going to send you to LV-426 to rescue whatever settlers are still alive, and we're going to send you with a team of trained Marines. So she agrees. They go to LV-426, and just like this first film, chaos ensues. So they find a little girl. She's the only survivor, and her name's Newt. And so now she's basically kind of like in the same situation as Ripley. She's the only person in her family alive. So she's a vulnerable character as well. And there's that family dynamic that begins to develop between Ripley and Newt. Ripley kind of takes on Newt as her daughter, as her surrogate daughter. So the team is tasked to go down into this facility where they're doing the terraforming and try to find these civilian settlers and rescue whoever they find. They go down there, they find Newt, and they find a nest of aliens. So when they go down there, they find all these pods, face huggers, all the stuff we know from the Alien franchise, and they get attacked by a slew of aliens. Now the special effects were definitely kicked up a notch in this movie. James Cameron definitely didn't shy away from going over the top, and I like that about James Cameron film. It was nice in the first film with Alien. Ridley Scott didn't want to reveal too much about the alien. He wanted it to be mysterious. He wanted to create that fear of the unknown. And then when you see Alien, just brief parts of the alien's body in these different scenes, it leaves a little bit more to your imagination when you see, because you're thinking about what the alien and it becomes frightening because you're basically it's like the boogeyman. You don't know what the boogeyman is, but you're afraid of it. So Ridley Scott tried to tap into that. James Cameron didn't shy away from showing the aliens. I mean, every scene that they're being attacked by the aliens, we see almost a full body shot of the aliens. And I think that was the general evolution for this movie. It had to happen. People got a thirst for the aliens with the first movie, Alien, and then in Aliens, it's like, okay, now we need to see these aliens. We need to see what we're working with here. And James Cameron did that. He did an excellent job. They kicked it up a notch with the animatronics. Special effects were awesome. The gore was top notch. So we see a lot more of the acid being sprayed on people, and then people's faces dissolving. I mean, it's out of control in this movie. Like I said, awesome characters in this movie. We got an ensemble cast. We got Sigourney Weaver returning. We got Bill Paxton. He's like, "Game over, dude! Game over!" He's kind of playing this like, you know, kind of playing like a punk, you know, young Marine that's just kind of inexperienced and stuff, which he does a really good job. I felt like it was a little heavy-handed at times. You know, as a kid, I used to love Bill Paxton in this movie, but as I've gotten older, it's kind of like the jokes that they threw in this movie they're a little heavy-handed at times. And it's kind of like you get sick and tired of Bill Paxton at certain points in the movie. You're like, all right, man, all right, Bill, chill out a little bit. You're going a little bit crazy here. And that's even more so when they came out with the director's cut. I mean, you realize that James Cameron had to cut out a lot of Bill Paxton's dialogue in this movie. I mean, it's just insane how much he's talking. Okay. But yeah, so that gets cut out of the movie, but I overall thought Bill Paxton did an excellent job in the movie. We get Jeanette Goldstein, so you'll probably remember her from Terminator 2. That was one of her other larger roles. We get Michael Biehn in this movie. His role in this movie is awesome. Okay, I like Corporal Hicks. Awesome character. There's kind of like a love interest going on. It's really subtle. I don't know if everybody catches this, but there's like kind of like a little love interest between Corporal Hicks and Ripley, and it's almost like there's like a family between the three of them, between New Ripley and Corporal Hicks, and you can tell so early on that, you know, Corporal Hicks is trying to like impress Ripley. He's a little bit more chilled out than the other Marines, and you can tell that he's kind of experienced. He's kind of like thick-skinned and everything. And I actually learned this from watching a documentary the other night, but they recasted Hicks' character. Michael Biehn was brought on like literally right before the filming, which is a credit to Michael Biehn as an actor, because he picked up Corporal Hicks' character like, I mean, he only had maybe a few weeks to prepare for his role, and he did an excellent job in the movie. Awesome job. Yeah, overall the cast is awesome. I love the special effects. I love everything they did with the movie. The film, for the most part, the theatrical trailer moves through quickly. When you get into the director's cut of the film, you can realize why they cut out a lot of this stuff. It's a lot longer. It's like 16 minutes longer, and it makes the film feel a lot longer. But I think either version of it, the theatrical or the director's cut, are really good. I mean, I don't have a preference, really. It all depends. How much time do I actually have to watch this? If I'm trying to go to bed real early, I might throw in the theatrical version. But if I'm in for a long haul and want to stay up late, I'm going to watch director's cut. To me, really, there's not that much difference between the two of them, even though one's longer than the other. But yeah, so we get a lot of alien action throughout this movie. About halfway through, when they get down to the hive and they're under attack by the aliens, almost half of the crew gets killed instantly, and we're left with like the core crew, and they're just basically in survival mode at this point. You know, their escape ship basically crashes, so now they're stuck, and their only option is really to wait it out until the next ship arrives to pick them up. So they're in complete defense mode. It's pretty much, you know, everybody's getting killed off at this point. And yeah, we get an awesome awesome ending with the alien queen, which is awesome. I read this article online about, you know, the different actors. They had to have different puppeteers to do different parts of the Alien Queen. So you may have like 4 or 5 people operating the Alien Queen. You know, had one person might be doing the arms, a couple people might be doing the head, you had somebody doing the tail, and maybe the different, you know, movements of the arms and everything were different people. So it took a lot to get this Alien Queen, you know, to work in these scenes. And it's just awesome. I love this. I love the way this movie is, you know, the way the movie is. I love the way the movie ends. Awesome film. Definitely a step in the right direction for Aliens. Like I said previously, I love these films regardless if, you know, Ridley Scott's not directing it. James Cameron did an excellent job. And I think they set it up really good at the end of this movie for a sequel. And it's unfortunate, you know, for Part 3, Alien 3, that, you know, it wasn't as good as the first two. But I'll get into that with my next video. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts on Aliens. I love this film. If I were to rate it on a scale of 5 stars, I would give it a 4.4, okay? Like I said, I feel Alien is a cut above. To me, Alien is basically, it's a flawless film. It didn't have to rely on a lot of special effects and showing the alien so much. It played on our curiosity, our imagination. To our head and our mind is supposed to basically create the element of suspense. We didn't have to have special effects, a lot of action. And I think that's what separates Alien from Aliens, is the fact that Ridley Scott was able to deliver without having such a high budget, you know, and having all the special effects. So I like them both, but Alien is just slightly ahead of Aliens. So what are your thoughts on this film? Do you like this one better than Alien? Do you like Aliens better? Where do you see this film in the franchise? Alright guys, that's pretty much what I got, and I just want to remind everybody to stay tuned for my 3rd video. I'm going to be doing that tomorrow, and I'm going to be doing it all the way until we get to the 7th day. I'm going to be doing a review of the entire franchise. I'm going to rank all the films, which films I like the most, and which are the lowest on my list. And I'm going to talk about the future of the franchise, where I think the films are going. So yeah, it's going to be awesome, guys. Stay tuned for the rest of my videos, and until next time, later.